Welcome back to the realm of the mindful madman. Today we have a full-on face-to-face conversation today. I wanted to, as you can see from the title of this video, this is definitely a topic that I've been thinking about for a minute now, for quite a few years. I would say maybe like, I don't know, like 4 to 5 years. Really, like probably 2020 is when it started. 2019 is kind of where I kind of started to notice it, but 2020 is really when it started. But just like the title says, I feel like hip hop is getting noisier. And when I say that, I mean that it's becoming less meaningful. And I'm not talking about hip hop as a whole, because at the end of the day, when something is pure in its conception, you can never fully destroy it. So I do think that at the end of the day, hip hop is still a genre of music that will always be legendary and transformative in many people's lives, regardless of how the media or anyone tries to switch it and turn it into something else, right? But I think that what we're noticing now is, I don't remember what the terminology was, but it's like microwavable art, like art that's just getting pushed out, but then at the same time, do you really consider it art? And the reason why I'm saying that is because since, like, I would say probably around, this is from what I've noticed, me growing up, I would say probably around 2014 is when the mumble rap started, right? When that started to kind of build momentum in the hip hop industry, where it was just like, it was all about 808s and beats, and it wasn't really about rapping anything that mattered. And then it went from mumble rap to started rapping about, like, I mean, that's always been around, rapping about things that, like, killing people and drugs and women and hoes and all these things, everything negative. That's always been there since like the 90s, right? But it's becoming more prevalent now. And something that I believe, because I believe that since I'm a poet, I can understand and relate to an extent. I believe that rap and hip hop, at its truest form, was a sense of expression for black people. It was a way for us to pretty much relay our troubles and the things that we were going through, without just talking about it like, oh, today I feel sad. No, it was like you spit it in lyrics, you spit it in rhymes, because that was coming from the depths of your soul, right? But I feel like we're getting in a day and age now. I mean, we've been in this day and age, honestly, but I feel like now, since we've been bombarded with so much trash, it's almost just pretty much acceptable. In this newer generation, and I know, like, I'm technically considered a Gen Z, but I still appreciated older music, older raps, and all that. And, like, I always appreciated and loved lyrics that meant something. But now it seems as if the society that we live in, it doesn't matter if you create something that is meaningless, It doesn't seem to matter if you put out an album that, if you listen to the lyrics, it's not that deep. It's just noise. There's a lot of beats to kind of mask the fact that there's really nothing being said. And I think that's one of the main issues in the hip hop industry now, is that a lot of artists are just trying to sell albums, or not sell albums, but they're just trying to get their streams up, right? They're trying to stay relevant. So they're just putting out trash music, in my opinion. And one of the things, and this person is not a He's not a rap artist, but I'm gonna use him as an example. So one of my favorite artists in the R&B world is Frank Ocean, and that man only has 2 albums. And I know we all make jokes about, dang, bro, when you gonna put out your next album, blah 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 blah. But his 2 albums are amazing. And honestly, I think Channel Orange is a no skip album, personally. Blonde, there's a couple songs I could skip, but for the most part, he's only put out 2 albums, and those albums have been just stellar, right? There's nothing wrong with them. They weren't noisy albums, but again, maybe that's not the greatest example because that's not hip hop. But basically, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that I just feel like the appreciation for rhyming is, see, the thing, I don't want to say it's dwindling, because I do know that there are many artists, many rappers, underground rappers that aren't as famous as your Drakes and the Jay-Z's and the Kendrick Lamar's, not as famous as them, but they're still putting that heat out, right? And but I do think that when you get to a certain level in music, in whatever realm that you're in. So, and this is, at the end of the day, this message is for all artists. You don't have to be a rapper, you don't have to be a singer or a musician. It's for any type of art medium. I think that after a certain point, when you get to a level in music, or honestly, it doesn't even matter what level you're at, create art and create music and create your expression in a way that's not watered down or just microwavable. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that to say like everything that you make has to be like the greatest thing of all time, right? But I personally am a firm believer in, when you create something, you put your soul into it. You take a piece of your soul and you put it into your art, and it transmute into the world. But I don't see that today in many artists, and I don't even want to call them artists, a lot of them, because it's just like they're just creating stuff. They're just making noise, but they're not really saying anything. You know what I'm saying? And I know there's gonna be a counter to everything I'm saying in this video. People are gonna be like, why is it gonna be so deep? Or, oh, it's just for fun. Like, not everyone, but music has never been just for fun, if that makes any sense. It's one of the most, if not the most powerful form of energy on this planet, right? It's the one way that you can communicate with all different types of people from various walks of life and languages, and you could speak one language, right? But the music moves people, if that makes any sense. And I just think that if you're a musician or an artist in any way, you have a right and a duty, really, to create things that are moving and not just create things that are trendy or might fit whatever's going on in society, so you kind of just roll with it. But I don't know, I just was thinking about, I'm gonna be honest, I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Kendrick Lamar came out with an album yesterday. Don't even remember what it's called, but I don't think it was good. And I don't even think the last one he did before that was good either. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, that's my opinion, right? And I would say that on every album he has, there were a couple songs that are good. There were a couple songs on that album that was good. There were a couple songs on Mr. Morale and Big Steppers that I thought were good too. But it just seems like those last 2 albums, it was just noise. Especially this one, it's just noise. And he's not the only one. I spoke on him because he's the most recent, but he's not the only artist that has been doing that, right? I don't know if any of you listened to Corday, but Corday's first album, The Lost Boy, was amazing. That is a very good album. If you want to listen to a really great body of music, listen to The Lost Boy. That album was amazing. Then he came out with another album after that, and that wasn't that great to me. And I'm saying this or putting these types of people, especially Kendrick Lamar, on a higher pedestal. Not to idolize. I'm gonna get into that in a second. Not to idolize, but I'm putting Kendrick Lamar on a greater pedestal because he has solidified himself already as one of the greatest musicians or rappers of all time, one of the greatest poets of all time. And I think that when you get to that level, not to say again that every album you make is gonna be better than the last album, because at the same time you want to experiment as an artist and try new things like Andre 3000 did, right? And I didn't listen to the whole thing for Andre 3000s, but I listened to some of it and it was pretty good, right? It was completely different than what he usually does, but it's in the same element. It's in the same element of creation, right? But for Kendrick Lamar, it's just like, bro, you're on like the Mount Rushmore of rappers, and it's not, to me, just from what I've listened to, his music has moved me more than Jay-Z's music or Biggie, because those people, they clearly, in my opinion, they were created to kind of cause a form of destruction within the black community. Their music was never really that uplifting. Not saying that they've never made uplifting songs, don't come for me, but I'm saying that Kendrick Lamar has always pushed the truth out more to me than those types of rappers, even though they're in many rap spaces they would be considered the on that Mount Rushmore of rappers as well. But one of my favorite albums of all time is To Pimp a Butterfly. Like, I'm talking about regardless of the genre. To Pimp a Butterfly is a no-skip album. That is one of my favorite albums ever. And I always say it to this day, Kendrick Lamar hasn't made an album better than that since that one. And Good Kid, Mad City was amazing too, and Damn was good too. But To Pimp a Butterfly, when you listen to something like that, and then you go listen to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, or then you go listen to the one he just put out today or yesterday on, what's today's date? Today is the 23rd. So you go listen to something like what he put out yesterday. It's just like, bro, you could have did better. And again, this isn't just towards Kendrick Lamar. It's pretty much like just seeing how a lot of artists, whether they're rappers or singers, their first few albums are great, and these are people that have talent, have a gift, were meant to be doing what they're doing. I'm not talking about just like random rappers that just pop up, because anyone can be a rapper these days. As long as you got a halfway decent beat, you can get on the scene. And if you want to talk about destroying your own community, they're gonna be looking for you to raise you up, because you've already been seeing that. But I just think that you have to take into account as an artist that whenever you do put something out in the world, there are many eyes that are going to see it, many souls and spirits that will be affected by it, and it's going to come back to you. Like, everything you put out comes back to you. So it's like, you got to be okay with, if you put out something that wasn't that great, you got to be okay with that it's going to affect people in that way, but it doesn't seem like many artists of today care. They're just putting stuff out. Again, I'm using that word artist loosely. They're just putting stuff out, and I have a problem with that, honestly. And I'm okay with saying that I don't care about the backlash or anything like that, because at the end of the day, I know that all this is prophecy. All praises to the Most High, and he's just moving the chips. But I personally miss music that just had more meaning. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, because there are still rappers who put out great music. I've been listening to this album a few times over, actually. Mavi, I don't know if you heard of him, but there's a rapper named Mavi, Mavi. He came out with an album a few years back. Well, actually, it was a good minute back, but I heard about it like last year. but it was called Let the Sun Talk. That was a great uplifting album for our people. And then he just came out with an album called Shadowbox. Pretty much what I got from it was about um, pretty much destroying your demons and rising out of darkness. There's another rapper that I listen to who's in the truth. His name is Eshawn Burgundy. He's been putting out great music for years, uplifting music, music that glorifies the Most High, which is another thing that's important to do. If you've been given a gift by God, you better be using it to glorify God. And just rappers who have never really got that famous, but they're still true to the craft, and they're still putting out that heat day in and day out. And I think that sometimes when you get too big, you get too your name gets too stretched and plastered in the music industry. You could easily taint yourself. Your artistry can easily be tainted because you're around a lot of people who aren't artistic, who don't have that gift. They're just good at marketing. They're just good at numbers, but they're not a true artist in a sense. They're just using you to uplift whatever agenda that they have. And I feel like a lot of rappers either don't realize it, or they do realize it and they just don't care. And that to me is messed up. To put energy into creating something that powerful as music just for money, just for fame, just for recognition, just for in the name of it being for fun. I just never understood the notion of just doing things solely for the fun of it, like, and I get it from the perspective of like, let me see how I can word this. I get it from the perspective of, let's say that you're trying to heal from something, right? And you're just creating, and you're not really caring how it looks or whatever. I feel like there are some creations that artists make that they should just keep for themselves. And there's others that when you're going to share it to the world, you do your best. Like, why have to do art and put it out there? And people might say, well, this is Kendrick Lamar's best. How do you know this wasn't healing from him or whatnot? But come on, bro. Like, seriously, when you listen to something like To Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid, Mad City, and then you go listen to whatever he put out yesterday, you're just like, dang. What was that? And another thing that I wanted to touch on that I mentioned earlier, when someone who is famous does something or says something, someone who's famous and is respectable in their craft, or just respectable in general, and they do something or they say something that doesn't sit right with you, or whatever the case may be, don't follow the status quo and glaze them still. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was looking just through the comments and reading after his album was dropped, and most of everyone was just glazing it, saying, "Oh, this is his best studio album. I've never seen anything greater. This healed my conscience." And I mean, to everyone, to each their own, right? But I was just like, really? And then you keep scrolling, because I was on Reddit too. You keep scrolling, and there's always the few who speak it as it is. They're real, and they're like, nah, this was trash, this wasn't good at all, you could have did better. And that really goes to anyone, not just Kendrick Lamar, any artist, politician, anyone that is put on a platform or a pedestal. Don't idolize them, because at the end of the day, they're human. And if these people aren't outwardly glorifying the Most High for the things that they have been accredited for, or that they have achieved, then it is what it is, and if they truly aren't doing that, then they will all fall. And maybe we're seeing the rise of that, right? There's a verse in the Bible that says the last shall be first and the first shall be last. And I think that outside of like rap for a second, like, I really feel like we're seeing that in the world of art, right? People who've been put on the pedestal and they've either did their due diligence or they played with it, they're getting booted out of here. And now the real artists, the people who've been grinding for years, the people who have been just putting in that work and never switching up and being authentic to themselves, they're the ones rising now. And I I think that's a beautiful thing. I really do. I was gonna also mention that another example would be Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill only put out one album. She had two albums, but only one studio album, and the other one was like she had a concert and then they recorded it and put it into an album. That one was great too. But that's what I'm talking about. She Lauryn Hill is clearly a gifted, talented artist. She can sing, she can rap, spoken word, all that. She was on the Fugees. They had a few albums, and they were good albums. And she branched off, did her own thing, created one album, and never created another one ever again. Not because she couldn't. I'm sure she could put out another album that would have been good, but because she only wanted to create, and I'm assuming, I never met her or had a conversation with her, but from what I've just heard and whatever, I'm assuming that she only did one album because she knew the true meaning and depth behind music, and only wanted to create art where she put her soul into it. She put her soul into it. So if she wasn't going to put her soul into it, she wasn't going to just put out stuff. And she wasn't going to succumb to any agendas that the industry might have wanted to put her under. So she put out one album and then never put out another one. Then again, that second album, which is also good, but it's like a live album. And she didn't put out anything after that. And Apple Music, like 2 months ago, said that they like ranked like the top 10 or top 15 or 20 albums of all time. And that was number one, right? And that was a spiritual album. She talks about God. She talks about relationships. She talks about healing. She talks about self-growth. Pretty much everything that has to do with ascension was put in The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And still to this day, the album came out in 99, I think. Either between 97 and 99. And still to this day, in 2024, that album is still transforming lives. It transformed my life in a way as well. And it's just stuff like that. And she's a rapper. I would consider Lauryn Hill I would consider Lauryn Hill to be in the hip hop community. And it's just like, I just feel like you just have to take music more seriously. There was this like little clip I saw on YouTube. It was either YouTube or it was like TikTok or something, but some guy was talking, and maybe if I can find it, I'll put it in here unless I get flagged or something. But basically, he was like, music is powerful, it's spiritual, don't play with music, because if you play with music, pretty much bad things will happen to you. And then that's not to like scare anybody off or anything, but you gotta understand, this is spiritual at the end of the day. If you decide to create something that wasn't something that you really sat and thought about how it could change the other person's life, and you just put it out there, or you created something destructive, which is even worse, bro, the repercussions for that are great. Because when you're put in an area or on a pedestal where you know that you're changing lives with the things that you say, and you decide to say things that are evil or things that are meaningless, because I also read a quote, it said empty words are evil. So things that are meaningless, and you're just putting beats and making noises and distracting people from nothingness because your lyrics don't mean anything, so you're just making the beats really good. That too, that will come back on you one day. And again, this isn't no shade on no person, individual, and I'm not putting shade to Kendrick Lamar. I still think at the end of the day, he has changed so many lives with his music, and he's a great artist. I just, for some reason, I don't know who he's around or what, but these last couple albums haven't spoken to me at all. But this again is for all musicians, artists. If you're listening to this, don't try to fit into whatever box or whatever, right? At the end of the day, if you're creating from your soul and you're doing things authentically and you put the Most High first, he will exalt you in due time. And it may not be in the way that the world sees it, but when you do create, it's definitely going to affect people, right? And it doesn't matter if no one sees your work or anything, you still put out that heat day in and day out, and you keep trying and keep getting better and honing your craft. I have 22 subscribers right now, and I still put my all into every video that I make. And I'm not trying to make this about myself. I'm just saying, I still put my all into every single video that I create. I don't just make stuff just to make it. I don't just get on here and talk just because I want to put a video out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think about the things I say before I say them. Like, I had this whole conversation in my head last night. I was going to record this video last night, but I was like, I'm going to sleep on it. And I woke up today and then I spoke about it. But the follow amount will come when you're authentic, right? And I've had other channels before that had way more subscribers or followers or whatever you want to call it. But when I started this channel, my first video was like in March 2024 of this year. And I've been on my stuff. I mean, I had a few breaks, months past where I didn't do anything, but I've been consistent recently. And again, even though I have 22 subscribers, and I'm not downplaying the subscribers because those are real people, you know. And I thank every last one of you for watching my videos. But you know, in the grand scheme of YouTube, 22 subscribers is not much at all. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter to me. Like, in my mind, I see myself having over 1 million subscribers if I had to put a number on it. But even if I had over 1 million or I had 2, I still put out the same type of quality content, and I try to get better at it each time I do, because this is a form of art in a way too. This is a form of expression. I don't want to just put out stuff because someone's going to watch this video. Someone is going to listen to my words, and regardless of whether you listen intently or not, someone will take it to heart and they'll use whatever I say, and that will could be a catalyst in their life to either do something positive or do something negative. And that will come back to you as well. Everything you do in this life will be judged in the end, right? There's a Bible verse that says that. What's the Bible verse? It's the one about, like, you young people enjoy your youth, but in the end you will be judged for everything that you do. And again, this isn't meant to make you scared or anything. It's just a reminder that if you decide to go on this journey and create art to share with people, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure the people that you're around or the people you allow in your space to even see what you're creating are people that are going to uplift you, not people that are going to tear you down and taint your art. Because you can be around the wrong crowd and they can destroy your process. You know what I'm saying? That's why I had a video about, and it's a few videos back, I said that I don't remember the title, but basically I said that your craft, your artistic prowess, your artistic mind is sacred, and you need to move accordingly. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of this video. I listened to the album yesterday, and I was just like, I gotta talk about this because this is a bigger issue than just not liking an album. Because anyone has the right to not like an album. I bet you there's people who didn't like To Pimp a Butterfly, but it won a Pulitzer Prize, if I'm not mistaken. You don't just win Pulitzer Prizes. You have to actually make something transformative. So if that can win a Pulitzer Prize, then it's telling you that something's actually good. And people aren't stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, humans have a very good ear for what actually sounds good and what's garbage. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes if you always listen to garbage, you can kind of water down your ears to when something great actually comes along. And that's why, like, genuinely, I haven't been listening to much music. I listen to more instrumentals now, but like music with lyrics, I've been like cutting back because it's just the new stuff that's coming out now, for the most part, hasn't been very good. I'd be on SoundCloud just looking for an underground artist. Another artist that I listen to, his name is Willie Nova. So it's WILLYY Nova. He's pretty good. Was another one, Navy Blue. These artists, or Blue in Exile. Blue in Exile, great artists. There's people who like never really got that famous, but they're still true to the craft. And that's what it's all about. Another artist that I can think of, Throne. So it's like Throne, but you like space the letters out. They putting out like albums after albums, and they're making quality music as well. But just keep that in mind, regardless of what medium you use to express, whether that's painting, writing, poetry, music, sculpting, I don't know what else, cooking, I don't even know. Just whatever it is, just do your best. And don't for a second switch up your style to appease the world. You can switch up your style to just switch up your style and try something new, but don't ever do it to appease the world. That will never work. Especially if you're on this righteous path with the Most High, you get punished for that, because it's just like, yeah, I was gonna be like, bro, what are you doing? What you doing, homie? Like, why? You feel me? Because you've been placed on a higher pedestal to raise vibrations in a way that most people can't. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I've realized, because there were a point in time where I wanted to create art or do things in a certain way so I could get more famous or get more followers. But I had to realize, I had to take a step back and be like, I'm doing this for the wrong reasons, bro. It's about the long haul. It's about the marathon. It's not about the sprint. Like, at the end of the day, whatever's meant for you will be, and your art will be recognized by a great mass amount of people in due time, if you stay consistent, if you stay authentic to your craft, and you don't ever switch up for whatever the reason. So that was just my little spiel on hip hop and how it's getting noisier. Like, another artist I really like, but I feel like, alright, that's a topic for another day. That's a topic for another day. But yeah. Go listen to Capital Steez. I'm gonna say that. Go listen to Capital Steez. I'm still waiting on that King Capital album. I still believe it's gonna come out one day. Go listen to Capital Steez's music. Honestly, my top 5 artists of all time. I'm still trying to like get that list, or top 5 rappers of all time. I'm still trying to get that list finalized, but Kendrick Lamar is definitely in there, and Capital Steez is definitely in there. And Capital Steez, his career allegedly was cut short like when he was like 19, 20, back in 2012. But there's just so much out there. I feel like sometimes you kind of just have to branch out, maybe, don't always listen to like mainstream artists. Go listen to someone that you never heard of before, and you might find a new style or a new idea that will be birthed from just opening your ears up to something else. But yeah, hip hop is just noisy, it's still powerful, and that's kind of a testament to it. It's still powerful at the end of the day, but the main faces that are in front of it right now, whether it's rap or mumble rap or ratchet rap or destructive rap, whatever, those people they seem to be getting the most appraisal right now. But again, when you do things that are wrong, and you create things that are evil, or you create things that do not raise other people's vibrations, it lowers it, you might get your time of shining now, today, but tomorrow you might fall, like Nebuchadnezzar. You know what I'm saying? Like, evil is temporary, laziness is temporary, things that are meaningless is temporary, and eventually, if you create something that isn't transcending, or isn't just isn't moving, it doesn't have to be anything like super deep or super crazy, just isn't authentic, it's not going to last very long. And people will forget about it and move on to the next person. That's really how it is. So that's how it goes. That's the cycle. That's how the Most High works. He doesn't allow entities or anything that is meaningless to reign forever. I'm not talking about people dying. I'm talking about the voice you use to create something that didn't move others in the right way. That will die. And you gotta think about that whenever you decide to get up in the morning and create something. You are powerful. I always say that artists are shifters of paradigms, especially writers, shifters of paradigms. So why not take the gifts that the Most High has given you? Why not take the gifts and talents that God has literally placed inside your inmost being before you were born and use that to fulfill your purpose and literally change the world in the best way you possibly can, authentically. And if you do it that way, then the Most High will take care of everything else. He'll take care of the finances part. He'll take care of everything that you need. He will take care of it. I know he will, because he will take care of us if only we stay authentic and true to ourselves and glorify him in the process. Everything else will fall into place. Isn't that something very hopeful to think about? That all you gotta do as an artist is just create something from the depths of your soul and put your all into it and not be lazy with the craft, and the Most High will take care of the rest. I just wish people would think about that. But damn, the devil got a stronghold on so many creators, honestly. It's wild. But yeah. Be authentic, stay true to yourself, and really put your soul into it when you're going to create it, or just don't do it at all. Or if you're going to create something that you know you didn't really put your all into, you just wanted to create, then don't share it with people. That's it. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is what I believe. You can believe whatever you want to believe. You can do whatever you want. Most of you are adults. Make your own decisions. I'm just saying what I believe and what I think about hip-hop right now, and what I believe at the end of the day what will be hip-hop, because hip-hop will always be the act of expression in the highest form, and you can never destroy it, no matter what agenda comes, who they raise up, what plant, doesn't matter. But it's just I'm really just saying this message for those that are like in between, you know. You're kind of like, dang, like where's the good music at? I mean, you gotta search for it. But maybe all this is happening so that the Most High is showing that it's your turn, and that's whatever it is that you do, whatever medium. Maybe the greats are falling now, or their music isn't moving as much because their time has come, and now it's your turn. So if you get that revelation that it's your turn, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to answer the call and rise to the occasion and be the next one to transform the world? Or are you going to become like everybody else and make noisy art? That's not really art, is it? It's the Mindful Madman. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.